Hey guys, just no one here. Been a long time, and I finally got my hands on a PS5 and Oblivion Remastered. So, basically what I wanted to do for this video was kind of give, I don't know, my own tips and tricks on basically starting out in Oblivion, especially for those of you who've maybe never played Oblivion at all and this is your first introduction to it. Because while there are some differences, for the most part, it's still the Oblivion that us OG, veteran players have loved, just with, upgrading graphics and some minor mechanics. But for the most part, all these mechanic changes are for the better. So basically, what I'm going to say right from the get-go is when you get to this gate here, the gate to exit the sewers at the beginning of the game, before you actually leave, you need to make a hard save here. Don't make a quick save. Actually save your game. Should be the very first save you ever made with your character. Now the reason why I say this is because this is the last chance you'll be able to change your character. And if you don't want to go through, the whole beginning and you actually or maybe you regret your decision somewhere of making your character, whether that be appearance, your birth sign, your class, everything can be changed before you leave this gate. But afterwards, it's gone. So make a save before you do it so you can come back here if you wish to restart or just to change something. You can come back and do it and not have to go through the whole beginning and all that noise. You can just, go back, tweak your character, get out there and start trying to, do what you wanted to do again. So that's the first little tip I'm going to say. Always save right here. Actually, save game, not quick save. Now we're actually going to hop in here. I'm not going to get too into the, creation here. For the most part, it's pretty easy to use. There are some odd things that I've noticed that I kind of didn't understand, like hair color. I wasn't exactly sure how to get black. I struggled with that. Like I looked and stuff, and I guess you just click the empty square for both of them, and it might also help to change the gradient contrast and amount. It's kind of like highlighting your hair, but depending on, I think the amount will actually change how far it is to where whether it's like highlights or it pretty much is just your whole entire hair color. And the contrast might be kind of filling it in and bringing it to together more. I don't know. But either way, I usually max it out when I want more of a steady color or whatever, or just kind of fill it out a bit more. But I don't know. That's just small things I noticed about the hair color. It was actually a bit more just cut and dry when it came to hair and eye colors. Speaking of which, we got way more eye colors than before. Even some that I don't even know what the fuck they are. Like if any race has this or not. A bunch of them. Not like any of this really enhances it, but it's still nice, I guess, to have. Same thing with there's old hairstyles from the classic, but I also noticed some new ones, which is also really nice just to have, better, more unique customization than what we even had in the last game, but they still keep to the OGs, so I like that. So that's pretty much the only real differences. But there is this thing here with Origin. You see, in Oblivion, like OG Oblivion, they had a hidden kind of bonus, I guess you would say, to gender, like stat wise or skill wise, however you want to say it. Same difference, but anyways, those now have been changed to Origin because there was never an Origin. That's completely new, and I'm pretty sure you might, maybe. Okay, yeah, I had to click on it. So, you kind of see here. I don't think this skills change. Okay, no. The origin is yeah where the attributes change. Sorry, not stats or skills. Attributes. My bad. So you can click on it here and actually see, stress. I don't know. I'm gonna say stress and hierarch origin, what the difference is. And yeah, it's not I don't know, not crazy difference. Maybe like a 10-point difference. It looks like. pretty much thrown in there. 5, 10 point difference depending. I don't know. I'm not really looking and trying to do the math here. I'm just judging based off what I see changing here because I'm going by very fast. But yeah, that's something that's, you should kind of consider too when making your character an actual identity menu. As far as like, this is something I would just consider if you're really trying to go for a particular build. Your race and your origin should be considered if you're going for something very particular or trying to like max something out. Like you want the most resistance in something, you should go for a race, particularly for that. And then like if you're trying to get a real high start on an attribute, the origins would probably be another good thing you want to pay attention to as far as identity goes. But the rest of it's just cosmetics, and I'm sure a lot of you are probably going to make some kind of crazy character anyways. Have at it. But that's the only thing I really would say you actually might want to consider if you're going to take it seriously at all. Then we got your birth sign. Unlike Skyrim, you can't just switch out from a stone, and get a different ability. You're going to have to actually consider what ability you want to keep forever. So if you're going again for a particular build, you might want to go for one of these kind of more basic ones. But I wouldn't even say like if you're going for a mage, don't necessarily just go for the mage. I would actually say that's kind of a waste. Not gonna lie. I mean, if you're absolutely just wanting some Magicka points with no drawbacks, yeah, I guess so. Because I would honestly not even recommend this. I feel like it's not really worth it. And considering what I could tell you about the Atronach perk, like a little tip and trick kind of thing, then you really are just better off going with this. Because while it does suck that your magic is not going to come back, like if you have this one, your magic doesn't regenerate. So that will be a problem at first, and you might think, oh, I'm just gonna have to guzzle a bunch of health potions and hoard a bunch of, well, not health potions, magic potions, and drinking a bunch of magic potions all the time and hoarding them, and yeah, no, you need to get Welklin stones. You'll be going in plenty of Alien ruins, and they're out the ass. They're little blue glowing stones. Get the Welklin stones. They can refill your magic completely, so that takes care of that problem easily. They do weigh like a pound each, so they might weigh up your inventory a little bit, but hey, you're going to be popping them like candy too. But if you're also kind of clever of how you build your, spells later on, you might be able to get away with making better spells that where you're not so costly in magic but still decently powerful, and it won't be as big of a deal. Plus you do also absorb magic, like if you get hit by something you can take some of that magic into your um, magic pool. So that's another great thing. So if you're in a fight with a mage, you actually kind of have a benefit. You'll actually be able to fight a little bit better against them. It's really whenever you're fighting stronger foes that have no magical effects, that might be a bit more of a problem. But again, just depends on how you build your character and how you really play the game. Generally, if you're a mage, you probably have some ability to stay far away from your opponents too, to where it's not really a problem if you're squishy or vulnerable for a minute. But then there's, other obscure ones that they can be useful for particular builds, but they can also maybe just be useful all around if you're really just needing an out. Like the shadow, yeah, you can still kind of be invisible and help you sneak out of there. The ritual, kind of like an ass saver ability with the health thing. Um, or even a lover's kiss and serpent thing, you can poison and paralyze people and stuff like that. They can still pay off. And even this, yeah, reflects 5%. It's not great, but yeah, it gives you something, and you can actually use the key thing quite a bit. I feel like a lot of people hate lockpicking, so this is actually kind of nice. And yeah, a thief could always use it too. You could think about too. Nice start for a thief. So it's like kind of what I'm saying. Don't always just jump for these. Don't just like if you're making a combat build, don't just jump for warrior. Don't just jump for mage for magic builds. Don't do it for thief either. Just if you really are looking for the buffs in your attributes and you want to start out the game with the highest like attribute use you can, then yeah, go for it. They're really good for kind of that, or at least the warrior and thief one is. But honestly, I would say the mage one kind of sucks. I wouldn't even recommend the mage, and really not even this one. All the others, though, they at least have some kind of benefit. If you're going for attributes, then they got you. Or like I was saying, all around uses like having just a faster character. Like maybe you just don't know what the hell you really want to use particularly. This is just going to be nice just all around because you're pretty slow at first. So getting fast right out the rip might just be something some people want right away. And even the Lord is pretty much useful all around. It's no matter what fucking build you're making, you're going to take a good advantage off of being resistant to pretty much all damage, magic and you know physical damage basically. So pretty good. Just consider which one you want to pick, or be prepared to reload your save that you made to pick another one in case it's ass and you regret your decision. Edit class. All right. Now, for your class, this really just comes down to really two things I always consider when making my class. One, what type of skills am I wanting to use? Like, what am I going to gravitate towards? If you like a particular thing, like if you're focusing on magic, obviously pick magic. Or if you're trying to make like a mix, like you want a battle mage, then you need a little bit of combat and magic skills. But make sure you pick the ones that you're actually going to use. Mainly because they're going to get a buff right at the beginning of the game, so you can, act, well, not buff, they're going to be a higher, skill level. So you'll be able to use them better spells and stuff right off the rip, and whatever, skills you have. And you'll also have some skill or some skills that you might want to consider like security or speechcraft or something. Just throw one of those in there sometimes because some of those can load a little slow. I mean, Speechcraft, I could actually use a glitch if I really wanted to and get that up, but if you're doing it legitly, it's really slow. You know what I mean? So maybe use it as your one of your major skills so it goes up a little bit faster and you'll already start out ahead in that skill. That's the two main things that major skills do for you and why you want to consider what you pick at the beginning of the game. And you can't change them later on. Like all these things you can't change, so consider them. Now, after skills, you probably want to consider. I gotta actually make a class here. Yeah. Now, yeah, if none of these tickle your fancy, then go ahead and make a custom class, which I often do actually. So, yeah, your specialization is obviously, as it says here, going to give you your initial +5 level bonus and increases more rapidly. Again, this is why you want to consider these two is if you're going for a particular build, there are attributes that are going to have a better benefit depending on what skills you're using. So if you're like again going for a mage or a combat build or whatever, you want to make sure you pick the right ones that are actually going to help you. And if you want to pick one that kind of helps you and one that might be kind of for like I was saying like maybe like make personality even one so you can just start out a little bit more liked and get liked a lot faster. I don't know, get your prices up faster, and it's just something to consider. But for the most part, I would recommend just focusing on what's going to help your actual class build, what you're going to be using. So make sure you pay attention to what attributes are going to affect what, which it does give you a pretty decent description of all this. Much more than I think it did back in the day, to be honest, which is kind of nice, especially for newer players. So, yeah, pick wisely for your attributes and your skills. So you actually, you know, have a build that you're going to get the most benefit out of and really be playing rather than end up using a bunch of minor skills. And you will use some minor skills. I mean, you will. Like whether you even intend to or not, like acrobatics, but or athletics. Those two you're going to get up regardless. That's another reason why I honestly wouldn't even recommend unless you were really wanting those things in particular to level up faster. Like if you wanted to throw them in, but I would still focus particularly on the ones that you're actually going to be using. like primarily to attack and defend and just help you in the game, not just how fast you can move and how fast you can jump or stuff like that. So it's just depending on really what you're going for. And yeah, as long as you're taking a little bit of consideration in what you know you're actually going to like and be doing, you should be good. Oblivion Remastered. Not really sure if it's everything I really thought it would be, but it's definitely something I'm going to be playing for a while. But I haven't forgot about Skyrim, guys. I know it's been a minute since I posted a video, but you know how I be. But like I said, we'll get into some Skyrim videos soon. I'm really looking at some mods that I want to showcase, so yeah, be looking forward for that soon. Till next time, guys. Bye.